Hey, it's Lowry Smith of the CommanderSmith here with searching for the spotlight, Zimone and Dina. All right. Got a stack here today, guys. So I'm gonna try and be aggressive here at the beginning as I'm going through the deck. If you have not been here, I will go through basically all of these cards. They are in a certain type of order and try and make cuts from there. And then you kind of know what we're working with, along with and then we'll just try and keep on cutting down. And generally, I'll stop in the 70s, and I got to cut somewhere underneath 10. But there's a lot of tweaking that kind of happens and get tedious there. Not very watchable. If you're not watching this live as I do this, you can always join me live when I'm doing this on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitter, Commander Smith's Twitter, or join our Discord, which is another place where I post. And then also, we Commander Smith is a podcast that we do live every Monday on YouTube, and then just the two of us. Hi, hockey. Um, so yeah, podcasts. We do some games. We do some arguing. We have a main segment that changes weekly. We've started doing more tournaments. This we are about to do the finals on the best Praetor out there. Right now, it's Elish Nor Grand Cenobite versus Sheoldred the Apocalypse. So you can probably find that on our YouTube page and vote for what you think is the best. And don't blame us if you don't agree that either of them are there. That is the voters' fault. Or congratulations, you got what you wanted. Yeah. And so we do giveaways. We give away, we have proxies in here and we give away proxies to our patrons. We have our own Discord for patrons as well. All it is $1 to join. And I think that's kind of it. I don't know what I'm going to do with Simone. That's why it's such a big deck. Thank you. And so it is black, a green, a blue, 3/4 human dryad. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, and then you can tap it, sacrifice another creature, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand into the battlefield tapped. If you control 8 or more lands, repeat this process once. And that is a lot going on. So let's break that down a little bit. You can have some synergies that you can build off of within this is drawing a second card. There's a handful of cards that do that. Losing 2, gaining 2 for an opponent. That's kind of that aristocrat style deck. You have a sacrifice, so aristocrats works in here pretty well. This helps you draw a second card during your turn. But you want to draw second cards and then putting lands into play tapped. That can be with landfall, or it's just helping you get up to the 8 or more lands repeated. But there's a handful of cards there as well that care about how many lands are in play, stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're gonna go with it. Let's see where we end up. I'm gonna try and get aggressive here. This first batch is going to be ramp or just some type of land advantage. This and drawing are my two biggest piles. Everything else is a bunch of little stuff, and we'll see if that gets there. Um, oh yeah, remember to give a like. I don't even care if you like it. Just hit that thumbs up and subscribe. We just did a 1,000 value giveaway once we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube here, and that was very helpful from everybody supporting us. And you like shenanigans, then you'll like us. All right, ramp package within this. Let's go with this Bloom Tender, probably tapping for 3 in this deck. Let's see here. That's can't hard to beat that. Augur of Autumn. You're probably going to be pretty land and creature heavy, and so being able to play creatures off the top is going to be pretty beneficial. Augur of Autumn is nice. It doesn't draw you a card, but that's why it's in the ramp section anyway. Bantu's Monument reduces black creature spells by 1, and whenever you cast any creature spell, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So that's that drain gain mentality going on there. Pawn of Ulamog, whenever another non-token creature you control is put in the graveyard, you get an O1 Eldrazi spawn, which can sacrifice itself. So having non-token creatures die gets you a little bit of ramp and more creatures to sacrifice as well. So that can work. Skullport Merchant 1/4. When it ETBs, create a treasure token, and then this also sacrifice another creature or a treasure to draw a card. Just more draw, and that could be helpful there. Sifter of Skulls is the same thing as Pawn of Ulamog, other than one more mana and gets you a 1/1 Eldrazi Scion, but kind of the same concept there. Undercity Scrounger, 1/4 tap to create a treasure token if a creature died this turn. Doesn't have to be yours, but that happens. All right, Forge, Neverwinter Charlatan. This is from the D&D Secret Lair. The part that cares is whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures, you create a tapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. And so Zimone will get you a treasure with this. We'll see how that works in there. Liliana of the Dark Realms is here just to put swamps into your hand because this puts lands into play tapped from your hand. So it can just do a steady supply of swamps. Pitiless Plunderer gets you a treasure whenever a creature you control dies. This is a very good card. Sylvan Ranger, 1/1 ETBs, gets a basic land into your hand. Like I was saying, if it goes in your hand, it can go into play. Uh, and so you kind of got to play around. Green allows you to put lands into play. So you got to ask that question, like, what's that balance of getting something into your hand versus having it go into play? And Ranger is pretty sweet because it does both for you a little bit, and it's quicker and a little bit cheaper. Um, Next giveaway is not going to be at 1,100 subs. Might be 2,000 subs, but if we, yeah, we'll see. So Sylvan Ranger does both. It's a sack outlet along with getting lands in the hand that can go into play. It works both ways. Wall of Roots was just something I was thinking, like, you can make it a green and then it's easy to sack later when you don't want to. But I think I'm going to cut this right away. It just doesn't feel right. Lotus Cobra, that landfall that I was talking about, putting lands into play, getting mana that way. We'll see. We'll see. Just some other cards that will put lands from your hand into play. Badoka Gardener. Flip side doesn't really matter until later. Llanowar Scout taps, put a land into play. And this is what I was talking about. Like, what elves putting lands into play? Subdoji. I would say even less ramp than normal is needed since this deck is going to be drawing cards and allowing you to play extra lands. It's not gay, and it's a three-way. Oh, Lonely Island. That's great. Yeah, you're probably right, but you want the right kind of ramp. So we'll just see. There is a big stack. And so you want it to be different, but it's hard to go against what's really good, which is just putting the lands directly into play. But since you're saying it, if you're one time, it's not even a relationship. Let's cut the creatures that put lands directly into play, just because I can cut them. Let's do that. Oh, actually, we'll get rid of what else? But unless you control 7 or more lands, this is like technically on theme because it's caring about how many lands you have into play. So that is a little bit. We'll keep that around. Yavimaya Elder is a 2/1. When it dies, you get to go put 2 basic lands into your hand, and it can be sacked to draw a card. Old schoolness. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, is basically turning all of your creatures into forests. Hashtag Team Forest Walk. And that makes it easier for Zimone and Dina to hit that land count part. And then also it's just you care about how many land are in the deck. All your creatures are land. It can be a big beastie. Fairhaven Elf. We already cut Wood Elves, so we'll cut that one outright. Vorinclex, the new one, goes and gets 2 forest cards, reveal them into your hand, and then exile. You can pay 8. Trample Reach. It's not bad. I like the putting 2 cards into it You can exile it, and it has a saga side. I'm not going to read through, but it kind of do some work. Hashtag Team Forest Walk. Um, all right. Kind of thought if we go into the aristocrat style, like drain and gain, life gain is going to be part of what's going on. So, accomplished alchemist, you can tap it, add X mana for as much life as you've gained this turn. Could be kind of nice. Beanstalk Giant has an adventure. Go and put a land into play, and then when you cast it for 7, its power and toughness is equal to the amount of lands you have in play. So again, caring about how many lands are in play, Tireless Provisioner gets you a treasure along with that landfall that you got going on. Ulvenwald Hydra cares about how many lands are in play, also puts a land directly into play, and I like this better than the Wood Elves thing going on. That'll give it a little bit. It cares about how much land you have in play. Planar Atlas, ETB's tapped. Look at the top 4 cards, put a land into play or into your hand, and then it taps 1 colorless. This is something that I think is cool, and I think it could work in here. But with it not being a creature, I think I'm just going to try and cut it. I want to be very creature heavy, so if I can avoid um, non-creature permanents, we'll do that. Spring Bloom Druid puts 2 lands directly into play. You got to sack 1. Doesn't really work. It does. It's good, but not with what's going on here. Hey, Paul. Thanks for joining. Stone Cedar Hierophant. It taps to untap target land and then landfall, untap it. I've always found that it's a little expensive, but could kind of be working here. It's a different card for sure. Seed Guide Ash is a 4/4 for 5. And then when it dies, you get to go and put 3 forest cards from your library into play tapped. I've always wanted to actually play with this one, and with a sack outlet and cares about how many lands, I think this could be perfect in here. Eudora Grave Gardener. Whenever a creature, non-token creature you control dies, comes into play face down as a forest. It's a forest land, so it's those creatures that will turn back into lands, and it's adding 2. Zimone and Dina might really like that. Ezra Root Channeler. Creature spells you cast cost X less for as much mana as you've gained this turn. Taps for 2 life. So no matter what, creature spells can be 2 less. Right now, there's so many cards. I think I'm going to go after those just purely life gain cards. I'm going to cut Stone Seed Hierophant. Just it's getting kind of fat, and I think we'll get rid of Accomplished Alchemist. We'll get rid of those for now. I don't know how much life I'll actually be gaining, but that would be the preferred bit. Hashtag Team Force Walk came out tonight. Realm Seeker. ETBs with counters on it for where X is the total number of cards in all players' hands. And then you can pay 3, remove a 1/1 counter to go and put a land into your hand. I think we got a lot of stuff floating around in that 5-6 range where I think I'm just going to end up cutting Realm Seekers, but that might end up in next week's or the next time I build. Nylea's Intervention. Basically, X is putting the lands from your library into your hand, or it can get rid of flying creatures. I don't care about that necessarily, but lands in the hand could be nice. Nissa Vast Wood Seer goes in ETBs, goes and gets a land. That's some of those proxies I was telling you about. And then if you control 7 or more lands, you flip it and it can do a bunch of stuff. Turns into a planeswalker, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it on the battlefield, or 4/4 legendary Shia, which is already in here, and then untap up to 6 lands. They become 6/6. Bop is always good. I don't know how many lands that we're going to actually have going into our hand. I like Nissa, but I think Ren and 7 is not going to work. Same thing, Life from the Loan. I was thinking maybe of getting lands into the graveyard and being able to kind of engine those out a little bit, but I think these get cut right away. Patron of the Moon. You can pay 1 to put 2 land cards from your hand into play tapped. I'm going to keep this in here. It just depends. There is a little bit of theme of returning lands back to your hand, um, which can also help. And so just being able to go back and forth could be nice. Betrayer's Shield taps for any color of mana and also untaps target legendary creature you control. So do it again. What, what are you saying, Renshai? I'm not even going to repeat that. Sucks a wizard sleeve? That's offensive. That's mean. Why would you say that? All right. Basic ramp, Arcane Signet. I don't think I'm going to be doing much from the. Well, maybe. Maybe Crucible of Worlds works out better than I think because what that allows you to do is hold lands into your hand to allow Zimone and Dina to do its thing a little bit better. And then you can play the fetches from your graveyard. I might like that a little bit. Um, I think this was basically for putting a bunch of lands into play, and it's just playing for free. I think that's not going to work. I don't, you know. But this one, Quandrix Apprentice, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell or copy it, look at the top 3 cards and put a land into your hand. That will help with lands into your hand most of the time. Solemn puts a land into play and the sack drawing you a card. I don't know how I feel about that here. Well, it's a nice sack. It's a nice one. More tissues for your tears. I'm not crying. I don't cry, Wrench. I haven't cried in years. Haven't done it. The Golden Throne. Sack a creature, add 3 mana of any combination of colors, and then if you die, sack this because your life total becomes 1. Um, it's another sack outlet. So if I'm needing to make that kind of thing move, yeah. Thematic Compass. See, this was Stump the Smith Savant this week. I was able to get that off of the flavor text. And this puts a land into your hand from the graveyard. And then I like it because of the 7 or more lands theme part. I like that part. But it's probably not good enough. But we'll see. It's kind of on theme in that regard. No maximum hand size with Decanter of Endless Waters. Tap to add a mana. We'll get rid of that. I don't think my hand size is going to get out of hand looking at it. So those Thought Vessel can go. Soul Ring, we'll keep that around. Mind Stone. I like this because I can, it can be a second draw on a turn. And I kind of like that. Skittering Surveyor and Pilgrim's Eye are cards that ETB put lands into hand, and then I can sack them quite easy. We'll keep those for now. Zimone is just being able to tap it, put 1 land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Then it has the draw card. If you control 8 or more lands, draw 2 cards instead. I like both of them. I'm going to try and have Zimone and Dina in this deck just because they're the commander as well. They're going to work together pretty well. Elves of the Deep Shadow and Deathrite Shaman. I think we get rid of both of them. They're not necessarily on theme as much. Diamond Valley is not a card you should buy. Let's put it that regard. Let's go through this one more time pretty quick. See if there's anything. I think we can get rid of the go. Let's get rid of Solemn. Quandrix Apprentice is nice. Arcane Signet might get cut, but we'll have to look at that. For now, it's kind of nice. I think we're going to cut Nylea's Intervention. I think just drawing cards is better than going and putting lands into play or into hand if I can avoid it. Tireless, Beanstalk, Vorinclex, Ashaya. Probably same thing with Yavimaya. Man, I haven't played with that in years. Kinda wanna keep it around. Um, in this deck, we'll probably keep that because this is put an XX green elemental creature token where X is the number of lands you control. So that cares more than Llanowar Scout. I think I'm gonna get rid of Lotus Cobra. I am not a huge fan. I understand that it's nice and aggressive. Um, but we'll see. We'll see that curve as well. Pitiless Plunderer. I don't know how much I'm gonna like Pitiless Plunderer in this deck because it's gonna be mostly that as a sack outlet. So I don't know how many creatures are really gonna die. I think we can cut Forge because it's not like a sacrifice theme. It's so like if I had creatures that would sacrifice themselves a lot, I would like Forge a lot more than just, depending on Zimone and Dina. Yeah, we can cut that. Undercity Scrounger, I kind of want to play with it. So we'll see if that makes it. Both of these, we can go. I have not a lot of tokens, so this works a little bit better in there. I like Bantu's Monument as well, but we'll have to see how many black cards, but also the drain gain is just kind of nice. Um, another sacrifice. Playing lands off the top is nice. Okay. We got rid of a couple of cards there. All right. Let's see here. Horenshai is salty tonight. All right, this is going to be the draw package, I believe. All right, let's see where we're at. Boop, boop, boop. There's still more. Still more. That's a lot. We'll be able to be aggressive on that, I think. Okay. Be able to cut that down. Zimone and Dina. Filigree Familiar. ETB. Gain 2 life. When it dies, draw a card. So it's a nice little sack outlet that gains you a little bit of life. There's another sack outlet. Draw a card. Gain a life. Also removal. And then you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So unlikely to hit that. But these two you can kind of go back and forth. And I think you can gain a nice little bit. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature. You gain 1 life and draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Ravenous Squirrel. Now, I was thinking about adding in a clue sub theme in here. I don't know if that's going to end up working, but if I do, I'm going to want Ravenous Squirrel. But if I don't, and I'm relying on just a bunch of creatures, we'll probably avoid that. Kel's Fight Fixer. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may pay a black or blue. If you do, draw a card. Also has a sack outlet on it. Okay, maybe more sack outlets in here than I remember putting. Uh, Ancient Excavation. So 4 mana, draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand, then discard a card for each card drawn this way. It is an instant. Also just goes and gets a basic land into hand. Does a lot in this deck. I like it. Vohar, Vodilian, Vodalian, Desecrator. It's basically there for a draw, discard a card. If you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Probably going to be just a draw a discard, which I don't hate because I'm able to do it on other people's turn. Tatiova, whenever a land ETBs, gain a life, draw a card. And that would be that second trigger, which would be nice. Obsessive Stitcher, which is a draw discard, also a reanimation target or ability here. Baleful Strix, ETB, draw a card. Sig, River, Cutthroat. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, you may draw a card. So just those little cantrips, hopefully being able to draw cards and stuff. Let's see here. Joint Exploration. It is a draw and putting a land into play. So kind of what's Zimone and Dina is already doing. And there are a handful of more cards that do that. I swing Codal, Flash, ETB, draw a card. Urban Evolution, draw 3 cards, put a land into play. Put another one. Growth Spiral is instant speed, draw a card, and put a land from your hand into play. Eureka is draw 2 cards and put a land from your hand into play. Moldavine Reclamation, which was one of my Stump the Smiths that I lost. But whenever a creature you control dies, you gain a life, draw a card. Not a bad little thing when you're That's that second draw. That could be nice. Shadow of the Past. Whenever a creature dies, any creature, scry 1 has a little drain and gain attached to it as well. Well of Lost Dreams. Whenever you gain life, pay X, whatever you got, and then draw X amount of cards. I already said that I want to get rid of that like draw off of life gain or just life gain. Yeah. We'll cut that for now. We'll see. We got plenty in there. Braids, you're sacrificing creature, and if people don't want to sacrifice creatures, yeah, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Braids is a really good value spot. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more creatures dies, draw a card. Only triggers once. Not a bad deal. I like the creatures parts. And I like the instance of this. So sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards, trigger the +2/-2 life gain. For 1, I'm okay with that. Liliana, Dread Horde, General. I think this ends up being too much because I think the lands are going to be taking that 6th spot. So we'll cut Liliana right off the top. Corrupted Conviction, instant, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. We will stick with that. Transmogrant's Crown. It's basically a bad skull clamp in this deck. A little bit of aggression. Explorers, draw a card, put a land into play. Fecundity is whenever a creature anybody controls, they draw a card. So that would trigger the second draw for Zimone and Dina. I don't it helps a lot of people. It helps a lot of people. Helping people untap all creatures until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card. Draw a card off of that. So that's a second one. It can potentially um get you that second draw. I'm okay with that. Untapping as well is nice. Nissa, Force. Basically, you're looking for a untap target land. It goes up to 6, and then you ultimate it, and then whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. That can work here. Opt is just instant speed draw. Trade routes is what I was talking about earlier. Returning target land you control to your owner's hand, then you can replay Zimone and the Zimone and Dina thing that's going on. Instant speed, draw 2 cards. Kind of working there. Pulse of the Grid, instant speed, draw 2 cards, discard 2, discard 1. Ever Watching Threshold. So this is probably a bit that I need to get rid of here. But whenever an opponent attacks you, you draw a card, and then that's just 1, and will only trigger once on a turn, and so I will probably skip that. Chemist's Insight, 4 mana, draw 2 cards, jumpstart it. I think we're doing all right with Chemist's. We can cut Chemist's Insight. Gush could be interesting. This is returning 2 islands you control to their owner's hand. Draw 2 card, instant speed. Being able to put those lands back down is not bad. Courier is draw a card, discard a card. Whenever this blocks, you may draw a card. I don't hate that because that's potential a couple times on a turn. Loyal Drake will draw you a card at the beginning of combat, which would mean that Zimone and Dina can wait, and it'll still do them +2/-2. I don't hate it. We'll keep it. Verity Circle. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared an attacker, you may draw a card. I think we cut this. I don't think I have much that can force people to tap stuff. Heuristic Study is going to work all right in here. As always, to Fury, the draw discard on everybody's turn can be nice. Brainstorm, drawing 3, so that'll trigger the draw 2. Mystic Remora, same thing as Ristic. Skull Clamp will draw you the 2 when that's the trigger, +1/+2. Sensei's Divining Top can always tap to draw a card. This is an interesting one that I want to try and get it in here. I think I tried in one of the decks in the last couple times, but whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. Then you may draw a card and discard a card. And then you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice Gate of the Afterlife, search your graveyard, hand, or library for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it, activate this ability only if you have 6 or more creature cards in your graveyard. I should have, I should get to 6 creatures. Being able to draw, discard, gain a life is nice, and then go and get a reanimation target can be really nice since you're putting stuff in the graveyard. Alhamrite's Archive, that'll get you drawing 2 cards. That'll gain you 4 life instead of just 2. It does work in here, I think. Circuit Mender, it's there to, whenever it leaves the battlefield, draw a card, but it can also gain 2 life. So it's kind of like that familiar at the beginning. Sire of Stagnation, whenever an opponent has a land coming to play, you draw 2 cards, and that'll trigger the +2/-2. Consecrated Sphinx, whenever an opponent draws a card, you draw 2 cards, which would trigger the gain and drain. Weatherlight Completed, thinking about it right now. I don't think we can. All right. I still want to try and do Gate to the Afterlife. We have some sack outlets, not a lot, but I don't know how much I'm actually going to trigger Weatherlight Completed. Because that's whenever, if it has 4 or more Fiber Seeds counters on it, it is a creature in addition to its other types. So you scry 1. Basically, this deck is just scrying on the death triggers. I don't think it's right in this deck. And then Reaper of the Wilds and Catacomb Sifter are both scryers. We can probably just skip those right now too. Why don't you see a Thoracle combo in here? Because I'm not going to do a Thoracle combo. I would never do that. I did do Thoracle in Takasia, second reiteration, Merfolk, Tribal. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. It draws a card, puts a land into play. You can sacrifice it before it has to sacrifice itself. Works pretty well in here. Oh, there can be a small evoke thing going on too, because you can evoke them, and then before they sacrifice to the evoke cost, you can sacrifice it to Zimone and Dina. So whenever it leaves play, choose an opponent. If that player has more cards in hand than you, draw cards equal to the difference. Not a bad deal. 4 and 4, half difference. Mole Drifter, ETBs draws 2 card, evoke for 3. Pretty good. Novice Occultist. Whenever it dies, you draw a card and lose a life. 2 mana for a 1/2. Not bad. Silver Smoked Ghoul. You can pay 2, sack it to draw a card, and then if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And so there's a little bit of life gain going on here. We'll see what happens there. Smothering Abomination. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Whenever you sack a creature, draw a card. I don't think I do enough sacrificing in here. I don't want to count on this, so I'm going to get rid of that for sure. Erebos Bleak Hearted. Whenever a creature I control dies, I can pay 2 life to draw a card. I don't hate that because that'll gain me 2 anyway. Costly Plunder. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature to draw 2 cards. Don't hate that. Plumb the Forbidden. Instant speed. Sacrifice creatures, draw a card, and lose life for each one of them. I don't know if I like that return as much. It's still not a bad card, but we'll cut that one. We got plenty to choose from here for now. Deadly Dispute. Sack an artifact or a creature. Draw 2 cards, create a treasure token. We'll keep that around. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Instant speed. Let's cut that. Just being expensive type thing. Reckoner's Bargain. 2 mana. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. Gain life to the mana value. Draw 2 cards. If the artifacts stick around, that's all right. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, lose a life, draw a card. Grim Haruspex. Non-token creature dies, draw a card. And that'll just trigger the Zimone on the drawing 2 cards. It's not a bad one. All right. Sacrifice a creature, you gain a life, draw a card. I'd probably rather have a creature. So let's cut Witch's Cauldron. Draw 2 cards and sacrifice a permanent. That's any permanent. I don't hate that compared to other black instances that we have in there. So we'll just have to cut that down. We've done some cutting here. Let's go back through and see. We'll just have to pick these instances and see which ones we want to do. And we'll definitely have to look at our curve and see where we're at. Because I think we're going to be pretty fat in that 6 spot at this point. 5, 6, and 7. Let's see here. Oop. We'll cut Psychic Membrane. I'm okay with that. Probably cut Loyal Drake as well. We'll cut both those. I like the draw discard part. Gosh is probably all right. Gosh. Instant speed draw, I think, is pretty important in here just so I can draw on other people's turns. Benefactor's Draft, I think that's nice as an untapper and potentially drawing more cards. Explore probably doesn't make the cut in here, just with it being a sorcery. We have plenty of instant speed. Draw, Transmogrant's Crown, again, off the death, draws you a card, not a bad one. Cheap, cheap. Constant. Shadows of the Past. I like the drain and gain in there. All right. Instant. Being a sorcery, we'll cut that. Ice Fang, instant speed. Join Exploration, instant. Anybody know if Sig is looking at each opponent or if it's just saying has one opponent lost 3 or more life this turn? Because then you get to draw a card. Or if like 2 opponents lost 3 or more life, I get to draw 2 cards. I think it's just 1. But maybe it says on the rulings and stuff on the card like Scryfall. So we can check that. I'll check that later when I'm doing stuff. Baleful Strix. It's a good card. It's just a good card. Now draw a card, then discard a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's not a bad. Tatiova, Vohor, Ancient Excavation, Kells, Ravenous Squirrel, Vraska, and Filigree Filmar. All right. I don't necessarily dislike any of those. We made progress in the cutting. All right, this is going to be the protection bit. Spell Skite is nice. You can redirect a removal spell and then sacrifice it in response. Swiftfoot boosts Lightning Greaves, just giving Zimone some protection and some haste. I think I was thinking cycling, drawing another card off the triggered ability or triggered ability you don't control. Probably doesn't work. We'll cut that. A little bit more returning lands to hand, but Sortami Savant. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. It's not bad. I mean, I should have a lot of mana. Being able to return it back to my hand and put it back into play. Kind of like that. Sortami Rain Shaper. Pay 3, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Target creature you control can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. 3 mana, 2/1 flyer. They're both flying. So a little bit of dinking in. And then Uyo, Silent Prophet, 6 mana, 4/4 flyer. Pay 2, return 2 lands you control to its owner's hand. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I don't want a ton of return lands back to hand, but we'll see. Heroic Intervention is just, and those are all, protection spells and protection fast effects. Heroic Intervention, Indestructible Hexproof. And that's it for protection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not going to be able to cut a lot there anyway. Let's see here. It's probably going to be Uyo. I kind of like both of those, but 6 mana is going to be a lot for what's going on there. We'll just cut Uyo. Then we have 6 protection spells. That's about it. Gonna get a drink real quick. More than half done. All right. Removal portion, Bushwhack. Search your library for a basic land card, put it in your hand, or target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So it's removal or putting a land into hand. We can probably cut that. I don't think that's necessary. Uh, Mortality Spear. If you gain life, it costs 2 less. So a black and a green destroy target non-land permanent. I can reliably gain life. The question ends up being is how much? And so, but I can reliably gain life for that. I like that. Meat Hut Massacre is a gain life, lose life type thing, along with a mass removal. I can dig that in this deck. Nevermaker is an evoke. When it leaves play, put target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. So a little bit of removal there with the evoke. You gain a life. Target creature gets minus X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Um, Probably not worth a spot, but I kind of like it in here. Like, we'll cut it. Subtly is the evoke, but it counters a creature spell when it ETBs, and then you sacrifice it. I don't hate that. Bone Shredder has Echo, but it ETBs to destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. We could do that. Aether Snipe is evoke, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And then the evoke, you sack it. Shriek Maw, pay 2, ETB, destroy target non-black, non-artifact creature. I like that. Avatar of Woe. If there's enough creatures dying, this costs 6 less, and then it taps to destroy a creature. Can't be regenerated. There's a slight untapping thing going on here. And so Avatar Woe can be nice in that regard. Um, Probably cut another sack outlet. I probably have more in here. But sacrifice 2 creatures. Any number of target players each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. Add 2 black and draw a card. Not a bad deal. Tragic Slip. You'll always be able to turn on the Morbid. Target creature gets -13 until end of turn. I can dig that a lot better than the life gain one, at least. Bone Shredder is ready. Gross. You're. Ugh. Ugh. I guess I know what I'm doing later tonight. Evoke, ETB, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Not a bad way around it. Underhanded designs. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, you can pay 1. If you do, opponents lose a life, you gain a life, and then you can sacrifice it, destroy a creature if you have 2 or more artifacts. So another drain and gain here. Oh, we are into the drain and gain category. So if we get into the clues, this is what we'll be doing. Poison Tip Archer will each opponent loses a life. It has Death Touch, Reach, Blood Chief Ascension. When it ascends, whenever a card goes into an opponent's graveyard, they lose 2 and you gain 2. And so, and this lines up with losing 2, that player loses 2. It kind of works. Go with it. Zulaport Cutthroat. Whenever a creature you control dies, everybody loses a life, you gain a life. Blood Artist. We know that's going on. Vran, Executioner, Thane. You get 1 trigger to have somebody lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. Bastion of Remembrance, another drain and gain type card. And Sanguinary Priest. It has lifelink, and then whenever a creature you control dies, deals 1 damage to any target, which is a little bit different. So this can kill creatures. It's damage rather than life loss, which may or may not matter. Falcon Wrath Noble. Whenever another creature dies, somebody loses 1, you gain 1. Oh, we got enough here. Retreat to Hagra. Landfall. They all lose 1, you gain 1. Vindictive Vampire. Whenever a creature you control dies, they all lose 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. This one's damage. Some of them aren't damage. All right. Vermin Gorger, tap to sack a creature. Each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. Silvoke Lifestaff. Whenever an equipped creature is put into the graveyard, you gain 3 life. So you put that on the creature you're gonna sacrifice, gain 3 life. I'm gonna cut that. Dina, Soul Steeper, probably going to keep this, but whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Has a sack outlet on it as well. New swirly foil. Wall of Limbs. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then you can pay 7, sack it, and then target player loses X life, where X is Wall of Limbs power. Restless Bloodseeker. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a blood token. You can sacrifice 2. The problem is at the end of your end step, and so I'm not a huge fan of that part. It has the drain and gain, so it kind of fits and it's cheap. And so if you gain life this turn, create a blood token. We'll probably cut that. No, of course, no food chain. Come on. Come on. Come on, Renshai. Trudge Garden. Whenever you gain life, you can pay 2 to create a 4/4 fungal beast with trample. Should be enough triggers. Blossoming Bog Beast. Whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. Then creatures you control gain trample and +X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. So this at least feeds into itself. I'm okay with this probably just as an overrun effect in here. It could be at least 4, potentially more. Sprout Back Trudge. 9/7 for 9. Costs X left for as much life you gain this turn. Has trample, and then you can cast it if you've gained life at the end of your turn. I'm probably not going to get 7, so it's a 9/7 trample that can come back potentially for 7. Probably not worth it. We can cut that. Pattern of Rebirth is going to be a tutor. We don't normally play with tutors, but I'm going to sacrifice a creature here or 2, and I don't know what I'm going to go get. Deathrender will put a creature. If a creature dies with it equipped to it, I can put a creature from my hand into play equipped to Deathrender. Could be cool. Next of kin. Actually, I think whenever enchanted creature dies, it's an aura. You may put a creature card you own with lesser mana value from your hand or from the command zone into the battlefield. If you do, return next of kin to the battlefield attached to that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So kind of another Deathrender style card. We'll see how that goes. These are just kind of death triggers at this point. Let's see here. So that was life gain. Bop, 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 bop. And then we got some death triggers. Let's see here. Or Hermit Druid and Jace. No combos at all. Yeah, no combos. Right. You're right. No real combos. No infinite combos. They can get me for sure. Loth, Spider Queen. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a loyalty counter on it, and then I don't think it's going to actually work in this deck because I don't think I'm going to sacrifice enough creatures to make this work. So we'll cut that right off the bat. Blade of the Blood Chief puts 1/1 counters on whatever it's equipped. Whenever a creature I control dies, that could probably go away too. Probably not big enough impact there. Vindictive Lich. Whenever it dies, choose 1 for each player. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. The target opponent discards 2 cards, or they lose 5 life. If you got 3 opponents, you can choose 1 for each of them. Not a bad deal. All right, so these are death triggers to a degree. Death triggers, tokens that are easy to get rid of. All right. Blight Mound. Attacking pests you control get +1/+0. And then whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black pest. Ophiomancer. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, put a 1/1 black snake creature with that touch into play. Jadar is the same zombie with Decayed. It cannot block, but it is a sack. Oh, it's just at the end of your end step as well. That's kind of the rest of it. Bitter Blossom creates tokens for sacrifice, never ending, always happening. Brindle Sholt. When it dies, creates a 3/3 boar. So, when something dies, have something else there. Scoot Swarm creates a bunch of tokens, but also land based and cares about how many lands are in play. So that's probably on theme. Kessig Cage Breakers. You, whenever it attacks, create 2/2 green wolf creature token in the battlefield tapped and attacking for each card in your graveyard, creature card in your graveyard. Um, let's cut that for now. Not really happening. Greensleeves Morrow Sorcery, a sorcerer, protection from walkers and wizards. It has power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control, which is why this is in here. But also, landfall, create a 3/3 green badger creature. So just with the power toughness, I like what's going on there. Squirrel, unless it's a pizzeria pretzel combo, then combos all day. Well, you said pizza. It's in there. I'm all about pizza. I don't know about pretzels. You talking about combo like the little snack thing with it's filled with cheeses? I'm down with those. They kind of give me indigestion, but that's okay. Um, all right, 10 minutes to get through that. That's the aim. Squirrel Sanctuary. ETBs creates a 1/1, and then whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you can pay one to return it back to your hand. So kind of cycling through tokens. Midiotic Slime. It's when it dies, creates 2/2/2s, and whenever one of those 2/2s dies, it creates 2/1/1s, and kind of never goes away. Let's go with that. Primeval Bounty. Landfall. Gain 3 life. Cast a non-creature spell, put 3/1/1 counters on something, and then whenever you cast a creature spell, create another creature spell. 6 mana. Well, we'll see where that goes. Mirror Mockery. Put it on a creature. Whenever that creature attacks, you may put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Exile the token at end of combat. You can sacrifice it potentially. Let's cut that. I don't think that's going to happen. Nadir Kraken. Whenever I draw a card, I can pay one to put a 1/1 counter and create a token. I don't hate that. Reef Worm. Whenever it dies, create a 3/3 blue. And whenever that 3/3 blue creates a 6/6 whale. And whenever that 6/6 whale dies, make a 9/9 Kraken creature. I kind of like Reef Worm and Midiotic Slime in here because they're just kind of always around. All right, this one is Hangerback Walker, putting counters on it, and when that dies, it creates a bunch of Thopter artifact creature tokens. So these are kind of like when things die. Maloku, the Clouded Mirror, pay one, return a land to your hand, create a token that can sacrifice to Zimone and Dina. That puts that land back into play. Not a bad deal. All right, Liliana, Heretical Healer. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it, create a 2/2, flip it, and each player discards a card, return target non-legendary. So it's a little bit of reanimate, a little bit of discard, and then whenever a creature dies, return that to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. I don't know if I'm going to ever get to that -8, but I kind of like it in here. Vat of Rebirth. Yes, those combos. Yeah, I used to eat some combos back in the day. And then I found the love of my life in Doritos. Spicy nacho. That's my favorite right there. I'll fucking munch on those all day. Used to on my drive to Nebraska too. Battle Rebirth. Artifact. Whenever another artifact or creature you control is put in the graveyard, put an oil counter on it, and then you can pay 3 and remove 4 oil counters, and then bring a creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Probably too much. I don't know. I don't know. It just kind of sits around. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. We'll cut it though. All right, Macias the Unhallowed. Basically here for the non-humans, and then when they die, they come back with they have Undying. So they have a 1/1 counter on it. We'll work with that. Lifeline, a guy special, but whenever you have a creature die, it will come back at the end of the turn as long as you had another creature in play when it died. So sack decks love it. Wrath decks do not. So Lifeline, it is. Mimic Fat will be able to copy those sacked creatures if you like them. Sword of Light and Shadow will be able to gain you life and bring creatures back from the graveyard into play. Here's God Pharaoh's Gift that I was talking about with that Afterlife card. So it will exile a creature from the graveyard and create a 4/4 black zombie with haste as a copy of that creature. I kind of want to be doing that. A Vain Witch Coven. Whenever you gain life, pay a black, return a creature from the graveyard to your hand. I like that in here. Nissa of Shadowed Bows. Landfall put a loyalty counter on it. So you should be able to get to that -5 pretty easy. And then it is a reanimation target. I'm probably going to cut it right now. I don't necessarily love it. Journey to Eternity. Put this on whatever creature you're going to sacrifice. And then boom, it comes right back. And then you have a reanimation target with that backside. Um, no, does my wife know that I'm cheating on her with Doritos? So if you told her that, she wouldn't be surprised. I don't think she necessarily knows, but she wouldn't be surprised. Let's just put it at that. For um for Christmas, I got a Doritos t-shirt. They're so good. So good. My favorite is the like I said, spicy nacho, but I just had like spicy mustard Doritos and those were pretty good. They were like wasabi. They were like fake wasabi Doritos. So they were good. Having Ghoul Lich is a reanimation card. Intruder Alarm allows me to untap Zimone a bunch of times, but it's not broken. Aura of Domination allows me to untap Zimone and Dina a bunch. Retreat to Coral Helm might be combo-y, so I might not like it. Maybe though. Maybe. Landfall, untap a creature I control. Tide Force Elemental untaps with a landfall, and then you can pay a blue, tap it. You may tap or untap another target creature. I'll probably cut this. It's just a little bit more mana than we want to go with. I'll probably cut Vizier of the Tumbling Sands. Maybe not though. I can cycle it, and that'll untap Zimone and Dina, which will probably hit my second draw, and then I can wait on the sacrificing thing again. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yeah. Yeah. I used to when I drive down on the farm, it's about 7.5 hour drive from where I was, and I'd buy a Little Caesars pizza, I'd have a bag of Doritos, and a big jug of whatever soda I wanted, and I just fucking ate that for 7.5 hours. It was obesity. I mean, I worked a lot more then, so it wasn't as bad, but it probably sent me down the dark side path. Um, all right. Kelpie Guide. Untap another target permanent you control. Not too bad, but tap target permanent if you have 7 or 8 or more lands. So kind of on that theme. I don't hate that. 1,000-year elixir gives tapping abilities haste, and you can untap one. So I kind of like that. Mage Right Stone, untap target creature that has an activated ability of tap in its cost. There ain't much, so we'll probably just cut it. Thornbite Staff is kind of broken with Simone because it untaps whenever a creature dies. And so Zimone and Dina can just go back and forth. Tavar, Jubilant Prowler gives them haste and an untap on your turn. I don't necessarily care about the mill, but down with that. Curion Ranger, return a forest to your hand, untap a creature. Script Ranger, same thing. Fanghorn Marauder. Okay, we're getting into the clue area. But whenever an artifact is in the graveyard from the battlefield, you may gain 5 life. I like it, but I gotta cut something. So I think that goes Academy Man. I'm gonna cut. There's some really cool cards in here, but I think I just want to cut. Ugh, ugh. Let's talk about the clue section. All right, Academy Manufacturer gets you a clue food or treasure token whenever you're creating one of them. Eloise, Nephalia Sleuth will create whenever another creature dies, investigate, and then whenever you sacrifice a token, surveil one. I like both of those things going on. Inquisitor Eisenhorn gets you clue tokens for as much damage as it's done. Then you may reveal the first card you draw each turn. As you draw it, whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, create a legendary 4/4 that I can just sacrifice if I have that thing going on. So that works. Lannis, whenever I have a non token creature in the battlefield, you get a clue. Ongoing investigation. Whenever one or more creatures deals damage, you investigate. You can exile a creature card from your graveyard to investigate and to gain 2 life. Wave Sifter is evoke, get 2 clues. Ulvenwald Mysteries gets you a clue whenever a non-token creature dies. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, get a token. Tireless Tracker is a landfall with a clue. Whenever you sack a clue, put a 1/1 counter on it. Man, this feels really good in here. This feels good. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, investigate. I don't know if I really care about that, but maybe. Uh, Birdwall Illuminator. Whenever you investigate for the first time each turn, get investigate again. Ethereal Investigator. So when it ETBs, get 3 or clue tokens equal to the amount of opponents you have. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token flying. This feels like what I want to be doing. Sacrifice 3 clues. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield tapped under your control, untap it. These lands come into play tapped. Amulet of Vigor might like that. Tiller Engine, same thing. Untap that land or tap a non-land permanent an opponent controls. Nether Trader is something that can be sacrificed and brought back and forth. Same thing with Blood Gas, not a bad deal. Scoot Mob gets 5/1/1, 4/1/1 counters on it if you have 5 or more lands, so it cares about how many lands are in play. Multani has +1/+1 for each land you control in your graveyard as well. Crash of Rhinos, no, Crash of Rhino Beetles gets +10/+10 if you have 10 or more lands. Not a bad deal. And so there's the draw part. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And then whenever it dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Joel Rell. Whenever you draw your second card, create a 2/2 token, pay 6. All your creatures get +X/+X, number of cards in your hand. Min Wily Illusionist. Whenever you draw your second card, create a 1/1 illusionist that gets +1/+0 for each illusion you control. And whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the creature's power from your hand on the battlefield. Last card, Alondra Sky Dreamer. Whenever you draw your second card, create a 2/2 token, Drake. Whenever you draw your fifth card, the Drakes you control each get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That's it. I made it not under an hour, but pretty close. That is unfortunate. All right. All right. Let's go in CMC order. Just because I know like it's still a pretty big stack. But it might be I don't know if I'm gonna make this more complicated than it should be. This it could I don't know, it might be an easy deck. 2, 1, 5. Because if I just want clues and care about lands and how many I'm drawing, and I don't know. I don't know. But I do feel like I like this better. Like I just took apart Mike and Will deck, and that was a clue deck. And I think I just like the blue added in there, which is regrettable. Kind of like I wish I had done added blue instead of white. 3, 2, 3. That's a 2. 3, 5. Nope. 7. That's getting cheated into play anyway. 5, 6. Yeah, I should be able to cut a lot off of this. We'll get rid of Hangerback Walker. 3. We'll get rid of Primeval Bounty. Idiotic. 5, 3. Probably get rid of the Schultz. 2. Probably get rid of 4. I think we get rid of Next of Kin, but we can keep Death Render for now. 4, 5, 3, 2s, 4. 4, 3, 2s. I think we can keep that. We'll keep that. 3s. Technically free. Ugh. I keep that at, what's that? That's a 3, 4. I'll keep that at 5. Try and leave that around. That should be 2s. 4, 2, 2, 2, 3. 5, 3. That's 3. 4, 2, 3. 1, 2s. 2. Should be free. I don't know where to put that. Oh, got a shout out to Renshai. He sent me this as a gift. I appreciate that greatly. It is one of my favorite arts ever. Put that up against, famous paintings that I don't even know the names of. I don't. Fuck me, I'm a poser. That's fine. 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. Yeah, lots of 2s and 3s. Actually doing better in the 6th spot than I anticipated. 4, 2s. Hey, this is where it gets fat. 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2. Boom. All right. Let's see here. All right. Start with the smaller piles and just see where we go here. All right. I think I like God Pharaoh's Gift, and I want to try and stick with the power toughness equal to the amount of lands that I have. I think we can get rid of Patron Moon or Patron of the Moon. I still think it's a really good card, especially if I'm returning a bunch of lands and I can go back and forth. But I think we might end up cutting that bit. Ovenwald, I like. That's definitely in. So is Multani. And so then these bad boys, I think Macias, I wish that it protected Zimone and Z and D, but it's a human. And I think there's going to be plenty of humans in here. So Macias can go. These two have a potential to just be able to go like +2, -2 type thing. So we'll keep those around for now. Eudora, I like that a lot. Seed Guide Ash, excuse me. Vorinclex, Shia, Alhemrites. I got a lot of life gain, so like this one hits both bits. Like it so far. Nissa Vital Force. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. That seems permanent. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. That's that gain life and drawing a card, gain life, drawing a card. Removal. Do I care? I don't have much removal in here. I like the going over the top part. Green sleeves. Power toughness on that. Mediotic slime I like. I think we can cut Meloku for the tokens. I think we have enough cheap stuff, and I think it might just be too expensive. Like I'd rather have cheaper things that return. I don't necessarily need that as tokens. Lifeline, I work. Having Ghoul Lich. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That works. As a returning stuff, I think we can cut that. I don't think we need a lot of that. You know, I think we have Lifeline. I think we have God Pharaoh's Gift. I think we just fit those in. And then I think we have the sword. And what else would we truly need? Let's go with 4. We have a lot of sacrificing kind of going on at this point. Actually, let's recheck stuff. Because there was at least one card that cared about sacrificing that D&D guy. That's nice. If we're going clues, this is going to end up being just a sideboard spot, I think. Like, it's not going to make it in until I'm like, oh, I do make a bunch of clues in here. And that's what I would need to have happen. Mirror Mockery. Actually, well, because that's an artifact or a creature. Artifact or a creature. We can have that kind of in the sideboard too. That won't work. Yeah, I'm already happy with a lot of these cuts at this point. Fecundity, yeah, yep. Whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures, so that has to be creatures, create a tapped treasure token. Triggers only once each turn. Yeah. I did get rid of Deathrite. Okay. All right. Well, technically, these guys aren't going anywhere. The problem with this one is like 6 mana is a lot to reduce creature spells. Like these are ones that I cut beforehand, so I'm just kind of. But don't I? Rami? Yeah, I don't eat that. Nightmare Shepherd might be something. This was just for like drakes. I'll have to go back through that. All right. Let's go through that 4 spot. I think we can cut the Golden Throne just because it's kind of a nice little bit. We can keep it. We probably have enough creatures that are going to be dying. Treasure Bit is all right. Liliana of the Dark Realms, I like that. It's removal, it's ramp, then you get an emblem, swamps you get. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that ever, but Sifter of Skulls. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi. It at 4 is probably can get rid of. I like Erebos here, being able to be a little bit of removal, a lot of draw, and I don't, because I can pay 2 life, draw that second card, and then gain 2 life, and that'll just work. That'll just totally work. I don't know where my hand is going to be. I could be losing. I could be moving through this fast, but I think with these bigger guys, it'll go a little bit slower. So Slithermuse might be okay here. I think the draw discard stuff I don't like in here because I'm not reanimating a lot at this point. So I think we'll attack those kind of cards. So even though they're instant speed, I think the clues take that spot. Eureka being 4 mana, we'll cut that down. Still like Ancient Excavation though, because it gets that land into my hand. And I should be drawing enough there. But it is a draw discard. We'll cut it. Kells, I think I like that one. But Vraska, I think we can cut that one. It's a little slow. Destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. Yeah, I think we can cut that. So Tommy Savant. This is countering target spell, paying 3. I probably like the untappers better than. Do I? That's holding up a lot of mana to a degree. We'll cut the Moonfolk. I'm okay with Nevermaker, Poison Tip Archer, Sanguine Priest, Falcon Wrath Noble. I don't know if I like Vindictive Vampire. I just kind of, when I was looking for the Drain and Gain things, I was like, oh, there's a card. We'll keep that for now. Pattern Rebirth, I dig it. Death Render, I'm okay with that. Vindictive Lich. I think we could cut that. I like the idea of Midiotic Slime and Reform being in here. Just being constant. Okay. Let's see here. You may reveal the first card you draw each turn. As you draw it, whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card, create a 4/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, investigate that many times. I don't have a way to get that through, but having those there is kind of nice. Yeah. And that's another one. Yep. I like that. I like all of those just because they're on the drawing extra card, the second card or creating clues, stuff like that. So I like that. I think at this point, I think we can cut the ETB creatures going into getting land. I like Crucible of Worlds is going to be able to keep me playing lands. Perchire Shield. Untap the legendary. Land in the hand, flip at 7. Reveal the top card. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Put a legendary 4/4 Ashaya and untap up to 6 target lands that become 6/6 elemental creatures. They're still lands. Because more than likely it flips. I'm going to put out a 4/4 Ashaya into the battlefield. I don't know if it probably doesn't work the way I want it to. Search your library for a basic forest and reveal it. Basic forest? I think we can cut that. We can cut that bad boy. Tireless Provisioner, getting treasures. All right, with that, Yavimaya Elder. Probably too old school. Probably can get cut here. Topiary Stomper activates 4/4 vigilance for 5 land, basically. Undercity Scrounger, creating a treasure token. I don't hate that. I think we can keep that around. I think, do I like that more than like Pawn of Ulamog type thing? Probably. But creating more creatures is not a bad thing. Let's cut Pawn. I think we can cut the 4 mana one too. Ugh. But those two actually are pretty nice when it comes to these creature or the yeah, okay. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I like them both. Let's okay. Okay. All right. Bantu's Monument is there. Skullport Merchant, sacrificing another creature. A creature or a treasure, draw a card. I have more clues. It'd be nice if I could sacrifice a clue. Or it's a nice 1/4, can block. We're okay with this so far. Augur of Autumn can play lands off the top, and it also allows me to see what's coming. There's a couple of cards that work like that. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. That's always like the powerful spot. But I'm not, it doesn't have me drawing cards. That's probably the downfall. We'll cut Augur, sadly. Midnight Reaper and Grim Haruspucks. I'm good with both of them. Silver Smoked Ghoul. I cannot guarantee 3 life. And it comes into play tapped. And at the beginning of your end step, you gain 3 life, bring it back. All right. If it was everybody's, then I'd be happy, but not. So sack that. Muldrifter is dope. Uro is dope. Circuit Mender is okay at this point. I'm down with that, like drawing cards and stuff like that. Gate to the Afterlife is something that I want to try and keep. Rhystic Study will always be forever annoying, but also it allows me to hold off on those single shot instants that just draw a card or whatever. So I get to see if somebody else wants to do it. And like I said, I want to get rid of the draw discard parts. So Frantic Search, Pulse of the Grid can go. Morbid Opportunist can stick around. Braids can stick around. This is just draw a card and potentially put a land into play. Scry 2, draw a card. At instant speed, but I'd probably rather have a creature that does this with a reanimate. So I'd rather have it attached to a creature, gaining 2 life, drawing a card. I don't hate that either. Returning that to give Shroud. Oh, we're not going to have much protection in here, I don't think. Bone Shredder will stay. Aether Snipe will stay at this point. Bastion Remembrance, Retreat to Hagra, Wall of Limbs. I think there's enough little triggers at this point to keep Wall of Limbs around, which is fun. Same thing with Trudge Garden. Blight Mound, those creatures gain me life. Again, whenever that goes. Ophiomancer doesn't really matter. It's not really, it's just a snake that allows me to sacrifice it, which isn't really on theme. We can cut that. Scoot Swarm is nice. Nadir Kraken works. Let's see here. Each player discards a card. Return target non-legendary creature card with converted mana cost X from the graveyard to the battlefield, which is probably 3 to 5, and then kill it off. Dies. It's like so close and yet so far away. We'll cut that. Mimic Vat, I'm down with that so far. Sword of Light and Shadow, I'm good with that. Vein Witch, Yeah, that's some recursion. I'm down with that. Okay with that as well. Intruder alarm. Yeah. Untappers or retreat. Kelpie is nice and on theme. Thousand Year Elixir. Tyvar. Mill 3 cards. Then you may return a creature card with mana 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't hate that either. That's a nice little reanimate real quick. Probably just a ramp creature. Okay. All right. Academy, Ovenwald, Tireless, Trail of Evidence might end up getting cut, but and then cares about the second one. All right. We're making progress. I think right now, or no, we'll say something after. All right. Zimone, like I said, I like it. I think we can cut 9 stone because we have the clues. That ends up being. I like Thematic Compass for just where we're at right now, like 7 more lands. Quandrix Apprentice. I don't think I'm gonna have enough instants or sorceries to make this matter. So we can cut that. Arcane, Badoka Gardener. Let's cut Llanowar Scout. I think we can do that at this point. Just kidding. We'll bring it back. Sylvan Ranger. I like that it's cheap. Bloom Tender. I think I can cut Bloom Tender at this point. I think Hockey at the beginning has a good point. Like there's hopefully enough ramp with lands in here and just putting lands into play and drawing that I can maybe not worry about my speed so much. So let's get rid of that. Costly Plunder. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature, and that's plenty of clues that can be sacrificed. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature, draw 2 cards. Artifact or a creature, draw 2 cards. I'm down with that. Draw 2 cards and sacrifice a permanent. I'm down with that. Whenever it dies, you draw a card and lose a life. We can probably cut the Novice Occultist. Thought Courier can go. One thing about trade routes, which I think can be nice, because it's return target land you control to its owner's hand. And so there's Eudora, which we talked about earlier, and would have been nice with the Moonfolk and everything, but it's where are we? So whenever a creature, non-token creature dies, it comes back into play face down as a land. I can potentially pick it up with something like trade routes and replay it as a creature. I think that's kind of a fun little interaction I was thinking of. And so trade routes works for me, especially I don't have a lot of it'd be a lot better if I was more into the landfall type thing. So we'll see. All right. Where am I at? Again, seeing these colors again makes me want to build Salta again. My first year and a half, I pretty much only played Yarok. Yeah, Yarok's good. All right. Night Renshine, thanks for joining, man. Doji, yeah, I mean, Sultai's a good color combo. There's no shame in that. Benefactor's Draft is another untap. Transmogrant's Crown is drawing you cards. Shadow of the Past, I think, can end up getting cut. Just because it's not drawing me cards, so it's not triggering anything. I think I can cut it. I like Gross Spile, the draw and put a land into play. Icefang Codal at instant speed is nice. I don't have any other snow, so it's not going to get the death touch. I likely won't do that. I don't care enough because I'm doing it more for just like flash into play, draw a card, sacrifice it to Z and D, draw another card, trigger the +/-2. You know, like that's good enough for me. Sig is dope. Baleful Strix probably can go. Yeah, because it's not something I want to sacrifice. It's a damn good blocker, but I want to avoid that. Volhar is a draw discard. Swiftfoot Boots and Greaves and Spellskite are great protection. Same thing with Heroic Intervention. Mortality Spear, I think that sticks around at this point. I should be drawing enough cards or gaining enough life. Shriekmaw, I like. I don't like the sacrifice 2 other creatures. Any number of target creatures each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. You add 2 black and draw a card. I think it's a lot of work. Sacrificing 2 creatures is a lot scarier than 1. So we will cut that. Foundation Breaker is nice evoke. Nice drain and gain, a little bit of removal as well. Zulapur Cutthroat is drain and gain, drain and gain. One or more other creatures you control die. So each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. Fair enough. Fair enough. Vermin Gorger. I think we can sacrifice that. I'd much rather. I think I have enough. Not sacrifice, but cut that. I think I have enough sack outlets that I'm not worried about it. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. Yeah. Jadar, at the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures, I'd rather probably have just Bitter Blossom, but I think we can cut that. I cut the Ophiomancer. I'm still willing to keep around Bitter Blossom. Enchantment's hard to get rid of. Or of Dominion works for me. Vizier works for me. Thornbite Staff works for me. Scrib Ranger still works. Lawless, Ongoing Investigation, Wave Sister, Clues. Whenever land ETB's tapped, you control, you can tap target non-land permanent an opponent controls or untap that land. I don't disagree with either of those. I probably like Bloodghast over Nether Trader if I have something going back and forth. Landfall-esque. And Jor-El is, oh my goodness. I'm in trouble. Soul Ring, Birds, Skull Clamp, Top, Mystic Remora, Brainstorm, Gush, Opt, Village Rites, Corrupted, Ravenous, Subtlety, Tragic Slip, Blood Chief, we can get rid of Amulet of Vigor, I believe. Oh no. That's still that was a thick stack. All right. So this is where we're at. That's more than plenty, which is worrisome. Because we're at an hour and a half at this point. I have still not cut enough. Ugh. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 50. That's 50. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $41. Okay, so we're at 141. That we got to cut half of those at this point. Let's break this down into what they're doing again, and then just get real aggressive, I think. And I probably have too many ideas going on here at this point. So let's see here. That's just lands matter, big creature. That's probably way over there at this point. We'll say untapping. That'll be tokens. That'll be drain gain. That's going to be way off. We'll say removal for that bit. Removal. This is a draw. Sack outlet. Draws. Ramp. This would end up being a token. All right, this is the part. It's like tokens end up being like stuff that you want to be okay sacrificing. We'll consider this one like removal. It's a tap thing. So we'll see. All right, more clues is in the draw section. And that would be untap. That's in the untap section. Tokens. That can be drain gain. And we got boop, 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 boop. That's technically into removal. And we'll go with that. Protection, not a lot there, just 4 at this point. That's a draw discard, draw. We can consider that an untap. Not sure how much I care about that. Move that right there. Return target land you control. Discard a land to draw a card. Probably cut that. We can cut trade routes. That's fine. Drawing stuff. Land to hand. That ends up being technically tokens. That ends up being clues. Clues. That's kind of a tweener. That is an untapper. Plenty of untappings. So we can definitely have stuff we can get rid of there. Reanimation. 3. That's a token generator. Token generator. Token generator. Ugh. That's a drain gain. We'll consider that a drain gain. Same thing. Removal. That's a draw. That's technically removal. Draw. That's kind of a tweener. Draw. Draw. Consider that a draw. Technically, yeah. You're right. Draw. That's removal or ramp. Ramp. Technically an untapper, but we'll put that at ramp. Tokens. Let's just make sure here. That can be in the draw section. That technically can be in the draw section. Technically as well. With the scry. Ew. Like a little bit of reanimate there. Okay. See here, that is a drain and gain. Clues. Just tokens. Probably reanimation package. That's card advantage in my opinion. Drain and gain. Removal. Draw. Land. Ramp. Technically, all right, that's another big fatty. There, that'd be tokens. Technically tokens as well. Over the top. All right, that's removal. That's just kind of a over the top. All right, let's draw. Let's draw. Plenty of draw here. That's a big fatty. Land in the hand. Play. Draw. Draw. Yeah, we have plenty here. And okay. All right. We know we can start attacking stuff. All right. Protection. We're down to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna keep them all. We cannot really cut those at this point. Animation. What's going on? Oh, bedtime. All right, read that one. I thought he said bad time. I was like, what? You okay? Lifeline, God Pharaoh's Gift. Let's see here. Kind of like them all. I think we can get rid of 2 God Pharaoh's Gift. What? And I like Vein Witch Coven. Like God Pharaoh's, maybe God Pharaoh's Gift doesn't go in here. Ah, no. That'd be unfortunate, but I think we can cut it. Journey to Eternity. I don't really have any way to untap my land, but it's still probably pretty good. Creatures into hand and gain 3 life. I'd probably rather have Lifeline. Maybe Mimic Fat. How many do we got here? 1, 2, 3. Another life gain source. 3. Get rid of Mimic Fat and Death Render. That's what we could do. All right. Plenty of untappers. I like Intruder Alarm. We can stick with Kelpie. I like 1,000-Year Elixir as the haste. Haste. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I think we need to get rid of the Scarab or Scrib Ranger and Curion Ranger. Oh, what we're doing? Actually, yeah. Thornbite can go. I think it's perfect in this deck. It's just a little too combo-y for me. And so, but really, I'd only want to do 2. Just go and just drain and gain. All right. I think we can get rid of the Rangers. I think we keep Thornbite or Pay 1, tap an untapped creature you control, untap enchanted creature. This would be the first deck for that. Thornbite Staff is very good. All right. 8 or more lands. I like Intruder Alarm. Do I care about Intruder? Sheesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like Benefactor's Triumph. I'm going to cut Tyvar. That's what I think I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then keep Benefactors. Draft a bit. Plenty of life gain. And clues at this point. So I think we're good there. Let's see here. These are just fatties. I think it's okay if I cut Crash of Rhinos and Scute Mob because they're just fatties. This is getting me a ton of land, and this is at least bring backable. And they care about how many land you have in play. I'm okay with that. All right. These would be the token spot. I like green sleeves. These 2 I'd like, but they don't have to be there. Trudge, Blight Mound. I think we can cut this just because it's not giving us mana. It's not, it's the life gain, but that's like a very secondary part. I like Scoot Swarm. I like Min. I like Jorel. Non-token creature you control dies. You may pay 1. If you do, return that back to your hand. And so I think I'll cut Bitter Blossom and keep Squirrel Sanctuary. I think we can cut Nadir Kraken. 2, 3. Try and keep these in play. Let's look at those a little bit more. I think this is going to be a long one, guys. I'll try. I'll probably shut down around midnight. Hopefully before. Aiming for that. Just saying it. Okay. So on theme, I like Trudge Garden. Doesn't have to be here. Or you gain life. Pay 4. Yeah, let's cut that. Let's just cut it. Bloodghast is dope. I like Squirrel Sanctuary in here. Kind of want. They ain't doing much though. We'll cut them. They're not really on theme. They're sacrificable and they're nice for that. That's about it. But Bloodghast is probably just more important. Landfall, that kind of stuff on there. All right, removal. Like that one. Nevermaker is meh. Braids I'm okay with. Bone Shredder. Turn target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So this is an ETB. This is a death trigger. I don't hate either of them. Mortality Spear. Okay. Definitely like Shriekmaw. Foundation Breaker. Underhanded Designs. Subtlety. And so these two are kind of whatever. Tiller Engine. Tap that land. Tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Death, gain life. They're both going to be solid in here. I think we can get rid of Tiller Engine, even though I think it's solid, but I don't know what to do with it. All right. I think I'd rather have the creatures. Is that what we're talking about here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mainly because these deal with non-land permanents. They're much more varied in what I can hit. And these destroy target non-land permanent. Okay. All right. There. Tragic Slip can go. It's too narrow. Mortality Spear. So non-land permanent, non-land permanent, non-land permanent. Creature with the evoke. Destroy target creature. Artifact and enchantment. That's a creature. That's a creature. It's kind of anything, and that's a creature. So yeah. Right in getting rid of Tragic Slip. Non-lands. I like Nevermaker because I can actually just cast it. It's basically the same thing. Foundation Breaker's good here. Gain a lot of life gain, a lot of life drain. I'm down with that. I like Bone Shredder, Shriekmaw, Bop. I like both them. Like bop, bop, da, da, da. I think we can cut Aether Snipe. Just because I'm only casting it for the evoke cost. We'll keep them all for now. Not like I gotta move through this stuff too much. All right, let's look at the drain and gains a little bit here. Poison Tip Archer. So I'm losing life again. 4 4s. 3. That's a little bit different, but 2s and 1. I have not played Blood Chief Ascension in, I swear, a decade. So I kind of want to go with that, especially since it's perfect for Z&D. We'll go with that. I want Dina in there. One or more other creatures you control die. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Only once each turn. It has to be a creature I control. I like the landfall for retreat to Hagra. I like Gitaxian Puppeteer. Another creature you control whenever you gain life. Target player. Probably cut Wall of Limbs, which is a bummer. I think that's but I don't think that's nice enough here. All right, so the next spot to think about. So I like these at this point, those 4. All right, so creature I control, any creature I control, any creature, another creature you control, another creature dies. So I like the whenever any creature dies part is solid. So I'll go with those 4. And then at this point, I think Vindictive Vampire can go away. I want to go with Sanguine Priest, Zulaport Cutthroat. I know those are good, solid cards. And for now, I think we can cut these 2 at that point. Now we're getting down respectable like. We still got a shit ton of draw here. So that's where a major part of our cuts are going to come in. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. $43. That's actually decently close where it needs to be. All right. Doji, you're a late night guy. Gotta work all the time. You just have me. It's got me in the background while you're working. Make sure you're staying safe though, all right? All right. About to hit that 2-hour mark. All right. Gets me a land. Is a big beater. No real. It's just big. I'm all right with that. Ovenwald. Maybe what I should think about is Brawn and the Swamp Walk and the Trample guys, because I can actually sacrifice them in this deck. Maybe. All right. Eudora makes that stuff. I like it. Vorinclex. Let's read that backside just to see what's going on. Mill 10, put up to 2 creature cards from among them into the battlefield. Distribute 7/1/1 counters among creatures. Then until end of turn, creatures you control gain tap 1. This creature fights target creature you don't control. Exile it and flip it again. That's all right. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't hate that. Golden Throne, Pitiless Plunderer. Getting land in the hand. Crucible is nice. Oh, there's another untap I forgot about. We'll have to think about that. Tireless Provisioner. Landfall. Undercity Scrounger, I think we can cut that. Let's cut that. Pawn of Ulamog. Let's see here. Bantu's Monument is nice little drain and gain, putting lands in the hand or into play, and potentially drawing cards. Thematic Compass. Yeah. Arcane Signet, putting lands in a hand, lands into play. Sylvan Soul Ring. $22. I have 22. So I probably want to be aggressive and get down to 15. I can be on the low end. So let's see here. Um let's see here. I think I want to get rid of Land War Scout. It's one. Let's see here. Kind of on that fat side. Let's go with Pitiless Plunderer. Yeah. Like the Golden Throne. Yeah, let's get rid of Plunderer at this point. I'm okay with that. I think that's a very good card. Topiary Stomper. I got rid of the 4-mana one, it looks like. Okay. I got rid of Plunderer, so I think we can get rid of Pawn of Ulamog. Because those work really well together. Sacrifice Eldrazi, put a treasure into play, and that they work very well together. But I'm not really a token deck, and I'm not really a sacrifice deck. I sacrifice things, but I'm not necessarily a sacrifice deck. All right, so I think Bird stays, Soul Ring stays. I like Sylvan Ranger here, Arcane Signet, Bontu's Monument, Badoka Gardener, Topiary. What here is just kind of like sitting there, sitting pretty. Let's cut Crucible of Worlds. I don't know if I super like that, but and I think we can get rid of Liliana of the Dark Realms. I want to try the Golden Throne. I think Vorinclex actually works pretty well in here. Thematic Compass might be something that I can get rid of. Zimone I want to try and keep. Seed God Ash is nice. Yadora, non-token. I like Ovenwald. Beanstalk. I mean, yeah, they're beat face 7. Let's cut Beanstalk Giant. And what is that? Untap target attacking creature and opponent controls, and remove it from combat. I like that it's 7 or more mana. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think we could probably get rid of Sylvan Ranger as well to keep Thematic Compass. All right. Lots of draw here to try and figure out. All right. 6, 6. 5, 5. 5 spot. I think I can cut Slither Muse. I think that's an all right one to get rid of. Fours. Jeez. 3, 2. Are we even on there anymore? Let's see here. Try and fit the ones over there. All right. 3, 3, 3. We'll cut that one since we cut the other. 3. Plenty of 3s. All right. 2s. 2s and then 1s. Okay. Here we go. All right. So let's try and just go. Okay, clues. I want to deal with the clues, and then we'll see where we're at from there. clues. Okay. Plenty of clues there. I don't think there's any clues here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's go a little bit on the high side. I just like that they hit that. You draw a card, you're losing, somebody's losing 2 life and you're gaining 2 life. Like that feels real good and powerful right there. Clue, that's working. That's clue. I don't know if I care about something that doesn't produce its own clue. Woven Walled, Tireless Tracker, cast an instant or sorcery spell, which I'm gonna have some, but not a lot. Inquisitor Eisenhorn, we'll work with that. I like Ethereal ... Okay. Those two, not terrible, not amazing. Okay. I like the idea of creature you control dies, you gain a life and draw a card that's gaining life. Both of those. I think we can cut Nissa and we can keep El Hemrites. Indestructible until end of turn. We'll cut Kells just because it's like paying for it. I'd rather have, and it has to be sacrificed rather than dies. I like Erebos and Pattern of Rebirth at this point, but we can get rid of Kells. If it said artifact here, I'd probably be a little bit different, but they didn't necessarily want to do that. Oh, that's not a bad gig then, Doji. Not a bad gig at all. Let's see here. I think I have enough creatures that I'm not worried about having sack fodder, if that makes sense. So I think Filigree Familiar can go away. I like the creatures that draw me a card, but I don't necessarily care about discarding card. I don't have okay, Circuit Mender, same thing as the Familiar. I don't necessarily have any reanimate stuff, right? So let's get rid of the draw discard stuff. 2. Let's see here. Okay. I think in the long run, I think Ravenous Squirrel just it's too much. So sacrifice a clue, pay 3, sack a clue, gain 1 life and draw a card, when really I could just pay 2 to sack the clue and draw a card. Like that's whenever you sacrifice an artifact or creature, but it naturally gets bigger as well with the clues and sacrificing. All right, that can kind of we don't need it. We don't need it. Still like Skull Clamp. Let's go back. All right, cutting the draw discard guys, the 3 of them. Trying to be aggressive here. I like Morbid Opportunist because that is similar to Grim Harrowspecs and Midnight Rider. I'll take those free draws. I like the Retreat to Coral Helm. I think I can get rid of Rhystic Study, not because it's not good, but I have plenty of draw. The clues will help a ton. Uro, it's kind of just like an evoke creature, Mull Drifter, Mull creature. I don't want to be sacrificing treasures, I don't think. I'm not going to have a lot of treasures either, so I could probably cut that. And it's 2, I'd rather just have a clue, right? Vizier of Tumbling Sands, that's an untap plus a draw. Oh, and that does tap to untap. Target permanent. Keep that for now. We'll have to go through and figure stuff out. Sig, I'm all right with. Ice Fang Codal, I like. Gross Spiral. I probably like that better than the sacrificing to draw cards. Transmogrants. So if I could probably, this at least gives me a treasure, so that's very good. This can be anything, but I like Benefactor's Draft. So I think we can probably cut these 3 instant speed stuff. Let's see here. Skull Clamp still is a boss. Sensei's Divining Top. I think we can cut Mystic Remora here. Brainstorm. Gush. Yeah. I think 1, 2, 3. I'd rather cut these 2 than the 1. Then opt. Let's see where we're at. We got rid of a bunch there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 20. 14. So 34 still in the draw section. Now I'm going to want to get down there quite a bit. Gotta cut probably 14-ish. And then we can go back. We'll have one more round probably. See, that's looking respectable. But my draw is like more than half that. So I need to figure out a way how to cut this beast down at this point. So basically, sack a creature, draw 2 cards, put a land into play, and then they lose 2, you gain 2. Put a land into play, gain a life, you draw a card, they lose 2, you gain 2. And sacking a creature, you gain a life, you draw your second card, they lose 2, you gain 2. Eloise, whenever another creature you control dies, investigate. All right, so here is the sad part, is maybe the clues don't work. I mean, they do, but I don't think the clues necessarily have to be so in there. Let's see here. 5 spot. 4 spot. I don't know if I like Inquisitor. So maybe I'm not. I still like a lot of the clues. Let's see what clues are we looking at? Boppity boppity bop. Okay. So that's just kind of the clues. I think we can get rid of Inquisitor Eisenhorn because I don't care about the 4/4 Black Demon. That's going to be tough. And it has to deal damage for that. So we can cut that one. But I think everything else, whenever you sack a token, surveil 1. So I'm going to be able to surveil enough. Investigate. I think we might be able to get rid of Eloise. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, investigate. Exile a creature. Investigate. Landfall, investigate. Non-token creature dies, investigate. Whenever you sack a clue, create a token. Evoke works. Whenever you draw your second card, yeah. 3 clues. Search your library for a card and put that card into the hand. So is Eloise something that we can just kind of cut? Because I'd rather just draw cards. Yeah, okay. We can cut that. What's this one? Tap, sacrifice X clues. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of the library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them into the battlefield under your control. That player puts a rest on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How much do I care about that Tamiyo's journal? We'll keep it for now. All right. So right now, let's see here. I think I can cut Sire and Consecrated Sphinx just because they're kind of big. They're taking in that spot of like the land guys. And I think hope that there's enough draw here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cut Gush. Keep Brainstorm. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I cut that. Cut that. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. At least fits in my hand now. All right. $30. 30. 25. So that's 85 right now. So if I can cut about 10 to 15, I might call this a night. Where are we at? All right. I think we want to go CMC. Well, let's real quick put them in types just to see kind of where we're at. It's likely going to be pretty creature heavy, but I kind of want to see how many instants and sorceries I have in there. It might not be a lot. Equipment. Yeah, and most of it's, instant speed. I'm all right with that. Creatures. Oop, oop, oop. Enchantment. Creatures. Enchantment. Okay. Yeah, no sorceries, no walkers. I started off with some of them, but let's see here. Enchantments. All right, we're at 85. Jorel, Min, Alondra. I think we can cut Bloodcast and Squirrel Sanctuary. I think both of them are right. Removal. Untap. Gaining life. I think. Still like it. Academy. Ashaya. Tani. The Trample. Big Bertha. Scoot Swarm. Warnclex. Zimone. Seed Guide. Spell. Bop. Bop. Blood Artist. Anything that's looking out of the ordinary. Got a little bit of treasure there. That's pretty good. Subtlety, Nevermaker. Braids. Sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. Back to Aether Snipe. I think we can cut that. Probably have plenty of non-token, whatever, any other creature. Another creature you control dies. This is any creature. What am I doing here? I think we can cut these two. Midnight Reaper and Grim Haruspex. I'm just not going to be able to draw a bunch off of that. Being able to have everybody, and then that's a good question. You do draw a card. It's kind of removal. Yeah. Let's get rid of that too. All right, with that. Got rid of all of my land pickup, which is potentially brutal. Okay. Cut some of that down. I like that Aura, True Alarm, Journey, Blood Chief Ascension, Pattern Rebirth. What am I going to go get? Is a little bit of the question there. Probably like a Uvalde Hydra. Oh, maybe. Maybe a removal piece. There's enough creatures in here that do stuff. Seed God Ash to go and have die. Vorinclex probably wouldn't be too bad either. Trample Reach. Shia is probably the one I go and get out of anything. Maybe a Blossoming Bog Beast. Where X is the amount of life you gain this turn, so it's checking for that. Okay. Ongoing, yada, yada, yada. All these death triggers probably don't mean anything, so we can get rid of Moldervine. Right with that. Instance, protection, removal, draw, untapping. I could probably go through and get rid of some of my untaps. Sack and da 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 da. Like the lifeline still sticks around. I think that's solid. Sword of Light and Shadow. Can probably get rid of that. The gain 3 life is not much, and returning 1 creature back from the graveyard probably isn't as important. Untapping and sacrificing a bunch of stuff, that's gonna be really powerful, even though because like, I don't have to do it all at once. I can just go draw on your turn, draw, and try and get ahead. 1,000-year elixir, giving haste is huge. Yeah. I think I can cut the golden throne. I think we could do that. Boots, Greaves, Ring, Signet. Bantu's Monument is good enough. Skull Clamp is drawn too. Since these top can help out. I like Transmogrants. Like that one seems all right. Like I'm okay with that. Either one of those. Thematic and Tamio's Journal. Okay. Let's. Oh, what are we doing here? We just got through. Before this one was. What are they doing? Drawing. Let's go CMC. See where we're going. 1. Make sure we're not getting too out of balance. Not looking too rough. 2, 5. Being 2, 1, 1. That'll end up being 5. 3. 3. 2. That's a tour. 2. It's free. 4. Let's see here. 2. 5, 6. 3. 5. 2. 4. That's a 2. And that's a 3. That's looking more reasonable. Nothing over 6, which is kind of surprising. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try and add 2 cards that I think could be nice. That's the part that like can be potentially nice, like a little bit of what am I trying to say? Evasion. There we go. Because right now I got a bunch of big guys, but only one of them has trample. You know what I mean? Let's put that one back, and then we'll go get the Swamp Walk guy too. Let's see here. There we go. Filth. That is likely to be cast. Unlikely to be cast. I got rid of all my draw discards. So I like both of these. They're big guys in this one. You know, they're 7, 7, 8, 8s at least. Hopefully 10s. But I like them here. They're big beaters. Giving trample is nice with Blossoming Bog Beast. Shy at more lands is nice. Creates tokens and is power toughness big. Vorinclex kind of is doing more than I would had thought, but putting 2 lands in the hand for a 6/6 Rample Treach for 5, and then the backside is not bad. Only as a sorcery, that's good to know. Seed God Ash. I still like it. Still like it. Eudora's nice. Always, instead of creatures dying, lands. All right. Tadiova is drawing cards, gaining life. I'll have to look and see how many triggers of life gain matter at this point, or if I've cut all of that. Lose and gain, lifeline. Elhamrite's archive does some work there, but I don't know how much that matters at that point. It's nice with the clues. Pay 2 to draw 2 is feeling better. All right. Brawn and Filth. Feel good. Pay 4, just sacrifice it as quick as you can. And so those probably replace like the Bloodghast and stuff that I'd be happy to sacrifice, like right off the bat. Yeah, probably those two. Alondra, Sky Dreamer. Probably helps. Draw a 5th card. Whenever you draw your 2nd card, each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it's just kind of working there. Falcon Wrath. 1/1s. Everybody loses a life for any creature. Like that. Another creature you control dies. Lifelink. It's a blocker. Dealing damage to any target. So that could be creature removal. Could be. And so I don't dislike that idea. Nevermaker. Target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. Can probably get rid of that. Cutting into the removal spot. All right, creates a token. Goes and gets a fatty. Pattern of Rebirth. Hopefully nobody faults me for that. Kelpie is an untapper. Min. Yeah. That should be helpful. Whatever land. Bringing land guys back. Topiary Stomper. Can't attack or block unless you control 7 or more lands. And if I'm not there, I can always sacrifice it. Not a bad deal. Tireless Provisioner. Braids is another sack outlet. Draw. Do I care about that removal? Yeah, it's cheap. It's alright. It's a blocker. Muldrifter is dope. Euro. Tireless. True Alarm is good. Journey to Eternity. Retreat to Hagra. Ovaldi. Retreat. Trier. 1,000 Year. And that. Ugh. Getting real slow on the cuts here, guys. I'm sorry. Foundation Breaker is the enchantment artifact removal token that is putting land into play. Protection. Drain gain. Land into play. Removal. Drain gain. Sacrifice. Until end of turn, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So that cares about gaining life, which is dope. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. There's plenty of that. That's probably why that's there. Wave Sifter. That's at 2. That's 2 evoke. And investigate twice. Lawless ain't bad. Ice Fang Codal. Flash, draw a card. Aura of Dominion. Probably can cut this. We have a ton of untapping. At this point, we're going to have to figure that out. Removal and drain gain. Clues. Draw and put a land into play. Draw and treasure. Untap everybody and draw some cards. Mortality Spear. I'm down with that. Heroic. Thornbite. Greaves. Boots. Signet. Crown. Compass. Rutrow. Not. All right. Birds. Subtlety. Bloodchief Ascension. That too slow? Is that? I don't have any way to mill people. I don't have any way. I don't have heavy amount of removal. And once it's online, people target you. I hate that excuse, but we can cut it. Opt, Brainstorm, Soul Ring, Skull Clamp, and Top. All right, so I think 9, 10, 11, 12. We might be in the range that we want. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $30. $30. $15. All right, so we have 75. We're gonna go through this one more time. We ain't doing too bad. Kind of made some big strides there. We're just gonna go in what they're doing order, and then we'll call it. All right, draws and removal, ramp, protection. That's an untapper. Removal. That's an untapper. Always draw, sometimes ramp. All right. Clues just go in that spot. That's removal. Draw. Card advantage. Clues. This is a drain and gain. Remove. Ramp. Drain and gain. And into play. This is tokens. Removal. Actually, some ramp. That's untap. Call that untap. Drain gain. That is yada yada. Clues. Always draw, sometimes ramp. That is recursion. Tokens. So what is that there for? Probably could be considered ramp. So clue comes in play, you get a treasure. Down with that. That's a token. That's an untapper. Technically a token, but token. That'd be protection / evasion. There's that. Recursion, removal, draw, ramp, ramp, ramp. That could go in the token. That's technically ramp. We'll put that in the protection spot. That is ramp, and then this is what any control on each land card in your graveyard. And it returns lands to your hand. Oh, that's kind of dope. Okay. I can kind of like that. It's at least something that brings lands back to my hand. All right, ramp. Let's be real here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. And I'll probably want to keep it. Okay. Keep it there. Where are we at draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I don't necessarily hate that either. 5 spots a little heavy. But I probably have enough. Pattern of Rebirth, like I said, probably always goes and gets a Shia or a big creature. Morbid Opportunist, Null Drifter, Euro, Tireless Tracker. I'm fine with these for now. The protection guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's just what's there. I want to try and keep that stuff there. Recursion is 1, 2, 3. We'll keep the recursion there as well. Let's see here. Tokens. So that's drawing, landfall, and caring. That's drawing, care, and then caring about lands. So all of that kind of works in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a ton of untapping. Let's chill that down, right? Intruder Alarm, I like the idea of that. Thornbite Staff, I think, is some great value. I think Retreat to Coral Helm has the land fall untap and scry if I so want. Do we get rid of Patriarch's Shield? Ugh. I think we can cut Patriarch's Shield. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That draws me cards. That can scry me. That just a lot of untapping. This can turn into a removal per se with tapping. This probably is not good enough, but we can get rid of Kelpie Guide. I think we can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seems appropriate. Let's go with removal. Yeah. Braid seems sweet. Bone Shredder is a good sack. Artifacts and enchantments. Where are we removal wise? That's a creature. Anything. Creature. Kind of anything. And creature. Ugh. Okay, so what I'm going to be able to do with that is deal with a lot of creatures and artifacts. And then basically I got 2 things that can deal with artifacts and enchantments. It's probably not enough, but that's where we're going to be at this point. I mean, evoke removal, artifact, Bone Shredder can go. Because I'd rather have braids in there. All right, Bone Shredder can go. Let's see here. This is drain and gain idea. I don't have a lot, so I don't know how heavy this actually needs to be at this point. Because I don't have a lot of triggers off of when you gain life. This can happen. Which in turn, let's cut archive. That seems all right. Let's cut archive. Um, I know people like these two. Sanguine Priest can turn into removal, like I already said. 1, 2. Probably like those two. 1, 2, 3. Like Dina and Hagra. Zulaport. Now, Blood Artist always does so much better than I think it should. I got to cut one of the two. Probably Zulaport Cutthroat. Probably going to end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $70. 70 ain't half bad. Where are we? 2 hours and 40 minutes here. I think that's kind of the way to go at this point. At 70, I'd probably keep this at about 38, 37 land because I want to hit those landfall or the land in hand. So I'll probably go 38. So that means I want to get down to 63 cards. Got to cut about 7 at this point, and I probably won't worry about that. I might go through and see a couple things. Let's see how many sack outlets I have and how many triggers I have off of whenever you gain life. Da da da. Because there's not, I think I cut a lot of that idea out. So it's more just like lands, how many lands you have in a play, creatures dying. That's kind of where we're at. So whenever, let's see here. It's whenever creatures are dying. Oh, I'm forgetting about sack outlets though. Yeah, drawing your second card. Those matter, but whenever. So, Blossoming Bog Beast is not bad. Mortality Spear. Dina. Vein Witch Coven. That's it. So there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 things that care about life gain. There might end up being more, but depends on where we're at 7. All right, let's see how many sack outlets we have. And I believe Dina is 1. And we will put Evoke in its own category. Let's see here. Evoke. Plenty of Evoke, right? I'm gonna cut Blood Artist as well. I don't do anything. Sack outlets? Might have cut a lot of them. That's a sack outlet at least. Yeesh. Okay. Not a lot of sack outlets. Enough of those, evoke things happening. Um Okay. Well, that's where we're at. I'm gonna say good night, y'all. Thanks for coming and watching. Hopefully you're having a good night. And all right. Talk to you later. Bye.